To go a step further, cause my ability to flow kinda makes me wonder, am I musically demented? And like, what is the reason for my musical existence? I put pen to paper and apply my writing skills, based upon just my musical cadence skills. Therefore, making a nigga inevitable. Poetic language, far beyond the normal level. Vivid ideas allow me to do this verbally. Writer's block, I never heard of these. Speak my mind, deliver my thoughts, and I'll be able to continue to flow without a flaw. Cause broken ideas leave the mind drop. So if I have any doubts about an idea, I throw it out. Profession, to rhyme, but I'm a jack of all trades. Therefore, I can work the board and still perform on stage.
Good evening, and we would like to thank all of you for joining us today. I'm your host, Lorena Smallwood, and I am here with Joel Bryant and Summer Adon, and we are kicking off the very first episode of the new podcast called Woke at Midnight. So for all you night owls that need something to check into and to listen to, we're going to be your group, your panel here. We're going to cover a lot of topics that we feel are relevant to what's going on, not only in our country, but also in the world as a whole, especially as they pertain to African American communities and the Black culture. So what we want to do with the definition of being woke on this particular show is making sure that we are making everyone out there educated and aware of the different topics, the current events that are going on and how they affect us in our communities, and maybe trying to come up with some solutions, not necessarily opinion fighting here. That's not what this is about. So that you're not expecting that. But if you're looking forward to being educated and informed on what's going on out there in the world, then this is the place we'd like for you to join us. It's what we have going on and what we have to talk about. So some of the topics that we will cover will be things like climate change, of course, what's going on with ICE, of course, blacks in politics and just politics as a whole, as well as different things that are going on in other countries that even though it's across the water and seems so far out, it does affect us here. Even though we might not feel it immediately and in the moment, it does affect us, and especially as a people, we definitely need to be more aware, more educated, more cognizant to what's going on in the world around us today. So I would like to open up and ask you guys, with everything that we're dealing with in the world, in the United States, even just in our own neighborhoods, what are some of the, topics or issues that you think we as Black people, what affects us most right now?
Well, I feel like that there's a couple things that I think that I want to kind of touch on, and I just think Black unity, coming together, understanding the fight that we're in right now. So sometimes I don't think that we understand how serious what's going on in the country, where we at with it right now. So
do you think that when you say that we don't take it as serious, you think there's a disconnect?
Not that it's a disconnect. I think we're distracted a lot. We're distracted and we're not really focusing in on what's about to happen. Okay. Yeah.
When you say what's about to happen, can you elaborate?
Well, I think in the next 90 days, in the next 90 to 120 days, the United States as you know it right now will never be the same. And the reason why I say that is because we got an election coming up. Okay. And I think we should understand that Donald Trump is not giving up power. I mean, he showed us that. So what are we doing about it? What are we going to do about it? I think that has to be our main focus right now. Because if it's about money, if it's about any of those things, that's not understanding that that we have to be able to be in the moment right now on what's going on far as what our political lives are at stake, I think that's the main focus we need to be on right now.
Okay. So, based off of what Joel says, Summer, what do you think? What are some things that we could do, especially with the position of power that the president is in? What do you think we could do that would be effective?
In regards to what, when you say effective? In regards to the status of the culture?
I would say the status of the culture, and also what Joel is saying, like almost kind of like we've given up so much power. We've allowed the president to become, I guess, on the level that he is, and there's so much fear.
Right, we didn't do that.
Well, no,
right. We didn't do that. Like, we're just here.
Well, when I say we, I just mean like collectively as the population in whole. So,
I think the president is showing us how much power the president has always had. It's just that you have somebody with less integrity, and he's surrounded himself with people who have understood the business model that is known as white supremacy. A lot of times we think white supremacy is like an evil field, but it's not evil field. The people who are operating underneath it have filled it with hate, not understanding that we're inside a business model. And when you're in a business, you have your foundation phase, and you have your marketing phase, and your building and your operations, and we're just trying to figure out which phase we're in this business model. But you have to first understand that it's a business model.
Wow, I like that breakdown. I've not heard it like that before. What's your take on that, Joel?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with her 100%, because like people like Donald Trump, but it's the people who was empowering him. And so now they're feeling emboldened because somebody talking their language. So we right back from square one where it's always been, like she was saying.
So do you feel like he surrounded himself with these people, or a lot of they were already in position, they were already in place, they were just waiting for someone who was singing their same song?
Oh, yeah. So no, they've always been around, right? So once they took complete power, which is over the judicial branch, the Senate, the House, and they got everything that they wanted. Now they feel like, okay, now we can do everything that we wanted to do. So, what you're doing is you're seeing a complete takeover of the government right now. That's where we at.
And so what do you say that looks like for us in 90 days to 120?
Well,
what should we be prepared for?
Well, we should be prepared for the government as it stands right now. The norms that we've always known and how we've always ran government is going to change. So I don't know what it looks like. It depends on what our response is. So I can say this. I've always thought the best way to attack is economically. Not spending with the big companies and just kind of take our dollar out of the equation, because our dollar is what they finance everything on. And until we understand that, I think that's where it starts.
Okay. So, kind of like building our own table.
Right.
Building our own infrastructure, building up our own communities.
There you go.
Our own
there you go.
Okay.
Right. And I don't think we understand how important that is. Because the whole structure is just based upon them using the government money to do everything that they want to do. Think about it. Like the weapons, everything that you see is financed by taxpayers.
It puts me in the mindset of, do you remember Black Wall Street? How they had their own, is it Tulsa? Their own everything. I actually had the privilege to go and visit it and see the museum there. And there was such a sense of pride in seeing what Black people were able to do collectively as a unit, and they're like basically run their own town. They were the doctors, they were the lawyers, they ran their newspaper, they owned everything, and they kept everything in home amongst themselves, and they flourished. So something similar to that, or am I kind of off on a tangent here?
What is that saying where they say like the devil's biggest weapon is to make you think he doesn't exist? And I think that one of our things is we're having a conversation like we have some type of power, like the government has some type of power, and I'm just waiting for somebody to say that Israel is running this whole shit and making us think that we are really in control and we are in power. What you're seeing operationally Israel pressing the gun on everything that's happening, because even what happened in Gaza was not a genocide. It was a real estate transaction. It is a real estate development deal. When you see that land, and I just feel like we don't all have the same information, and I'm just waiting for everybody to have the same information. So yes, we did we did well in Tulsa. That was great. That don't mean shit on a global scale when you look at the model about what is happening to all of the people and how these white billionaires and these millionaires and their insidious, devilish ways are killing people of color all over the world. Until we have the same information, I just don't even know what we're talking about.
Right.
Well, until we all have the same information, then where do we even know where to start with doing anything to make any type of difference?
And I feel like that's where it starts. So it talks about, like when I talk about where do we go as a culture, you said, where do black people go? And my question is, well, who is black? You got to start there, because you'll have people saying, I'm indigenous, I'm FBA, I'm African American, oh, I'm Black American, I'm Jamaican American. So now we got to talk about who is black. You got to start there. Then if somebody is Jamaican American, and if somebody is poor and they're on the poverty line, and someone's a billionaire, someone's middle class, we don't all have the same information, and we don't have the same truth. And we got to figure out what is the baseline of the information and the truth that we're going to use. And till we have that, all we're doing is performing intellectual theater. Now, in all these podcasts, all it is intellectual theater. So I just want all that to stop, and we can figure out what is the baseline of information and what is true. And from that point, then we can devise on what we're going to do.
Right.
So what would be the process then of getting that information? Mostly in the news, we're told what they want us to know. So I get what you're saying, but I don't know how how would that be possible?
Well, we're lazy. We're unbelievably lazy. So like Joel made a comment, he said something about us being so distracted. And we're absolutely distracted. This was by design. We don't even take the time to educate ourselves. So even when you go on social media on TikTok, they say that you get like, I think, a third or 2/3 of a second before somebody will listen to you, before they scroll. Like, my God. And if you notice, the day TikTok went dark, if you not noticed, when you go on TikTok, every like other ad is somebody selling you something. So you have the most brilliant minds that we have are trying to sell you a dress for $9.99, and it's turned into the home shopping network because everyone is trying to eat. They starve you out. Everyone is trying to eat, and nobody can see past their own pain. So where do you start? I believe you got to see past their own pain. Everybody has been wronged greatly by the powers that be, greatly. It ain't just Black Americans. It's the Jamaicans. It's the Haitians. It's the Hawaiians, Taino people. All these people that have been harmed greatly. And if we all come together, we do outnumber them.
Right.
Make them write that check. I don't have to operate in your system. We can all operate together, because if we just crush them first, it can happen. But we can't see past our own pain. We're fighting. Right now we're fighting over who Black History Month is for. I can't even, for my life of me, understand why is this even a subject? Right. Why is this even a subject?
Right.
I don't mean to digress.
Right.
Let me pretend to write on my paper.
Right.
True.
Right.
I need a break. I need a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got us off topic.
No.
right, welcome back. Now, we're going to dive right back into the conversation that we were currently having. So, Joel, I would like you to expound on your thoughts of what Summer had to say.
Yeah, so I think what we need to do is build infrastructure. We're too reliant as a black culture. We're too reliant on other cultures. So I think when I say distracted, we're distracted by money, if that makes sense. We always chasing the money, but we're not building. But if we control our economics, then we will have bargaining power to be able to do things. So I think that's what the younger generation, I think we got to kind of push that to them. Because to me, it just seems like that right now, we're just always chasing money. I don't see people chasing careers anymore. I don't see people like, I want to be this, I want to be that. It's all about the bag. And we can't build anything. So once we start building anything, then people will have to come to you and they will have to sit down, they will have to negotiate with you, and you're coming from a place of power. So that's always been how I've looked at business. And business reflects what our life. And that's the thing. And I look at other cultures and I see that all the time. And I think that's where we have to go. We have to quit relying on other people's infrastructure, and we need to go ahead and build our own infrastructure.
I guess I just have a quick thought, and I would like to know what both of you think about this. When you say we need to go back to building businesses instead of chasing the bag, any business, the purpose of that business is to provide a service that other people need,
right?
For the most part. But when you're chasing the bag, it's very it's about me and what I'm trying to do to stack for me. So you're not even thinking outside of yourself. It's a very selfish mentality.
Right.
And generally that only lasts for so long. So,
right.
So I don't know. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, we're not building factories, we're not manufacturing things that we need to be manufactured. Now we are doing it, but not at the rate we need to be doing it. So I think that matters. So when our kids can come work for our companies, and we can control and have our banks, then we'll put ourselves in a position of power. And so when things like this happen, economically we'll be more in place that we can fight these things. Yeah.
To expand on that, everything goes back to these hoes. Because when you are having a bloodline and you don't plan a life for them, they end up, you don't have a plan for them. So like, for instance, I told my kids, you are my investment. You are going to go out there in the world, you're going to do X, Y, and Z, and I put them in positions and I expose them so they know that your life is not your own. You are carrying the hopes and the dreams of everybody else. So we need to have more black people in STEM, more in development, in farming, and everything's not business. Everything's about how are you contributing to the environment and the culture of your people. Exactly. What is the culture? What is black? We can go there, but what are you doing? There's too many people selling shea butter and not enough people in engineering.
Right.
So the business is cool, but only so much soap and shea butter I can use. I want to go and know that the scientist who's looking at my cancer cells has me in mind and my lineage in mind, and I don't think that that's happening.
I can't dispute that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, you're right. Even though I have a shea butter company.
Okay, I'll hit dog, we'll holler.
Okay, all right. Okay, yeah.
That's funny. So interesting, because I know one of the other things that we wanted to address today, since you want to talk about them hoes.
See how I let her in on that?
She slid me in right, real nice.
Her in on that.
Let's talk about the disparity in relationship cultures as far as passport bros versus independent women. So I had to do my research on what passport bros are. So I guess you guys, if I'm wrong, then correct me. But it's men that are leaving the country, either moving to other countries or going to other countries to find wives to bring back to America. So from what I've researched, what I've read, and what I've listened to, it's because there's a lack of traditional women in our country, for men that want more of a traditional marriage family unit. And also it was interesting to read and to hear from multiple races and cultures that men feel that Western women don't give them respect and admiration. It's earned by their status and the amount of money that they make. But when they go to these other places, it's like the women genuinely are into them, and there's a different level of respect. So I know.
So the gentleman that makes $50,000 here, who's barely above the poverty line, is now Bill Gates in a third world country.
Somewhere else.
Right. Okay, so passport bros are those dudes in high school that were lame as hell. You cannot unlame a lame. And so he's mad that all these big booty Judies didn't give him no attention, and he's mad because he want a bad bitch. So after all these years of trying and failing, he gets a passport and goes get somebody else, because it's really about manipulation and it's about control. And anyone that says differently, I question who they are. And they're not pro-black, they're pro-brown. So to me, if you are not pro-black, I have to question what the hell is going on with you. Because if you're not marrying black, and you're not having children with black people, I don't understand what you're doing. So passport bros to me are the lame as hell dudes who could not cut it in high school. And it shows. Aren't you a passport?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. So, a couple things. When it comes down to dating, for each his own, right? But I have to agree with Summer a little bit. I feel as if everything should be about a purpose-driven life. So I think that's the big divide with men and women right now. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, like I hear men talking a lot of times. It's like, to me, black men settle a lot, right? We
settle for what?
We settle.
Settle
like,
for what? You subtle or you settle? You subtle or you settle?
Settle.
You settle.
Stop it. Listen. Black men, to me, okay, a lot of times we're not going after a purpose-driven life, okay? So we might see somebody we went to church with and say, okay, I know her from church, and they don't want to put time in to find that person that they can grow together. And I think that's the main thing in relationships a lot of times. Now, as far as dating other cultures and stuff like that, like, of course, I've never dated a white woman in my life, so I don't know what you're talking about. But I just feel like that men need to be able to put a lot of thought and a lot of effort into a relationship. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of times now, it just seems like we move too quick, and it's like that person might not be for you, but since you're going through the dating process, you'll just accept that.
Well,
right?
because so much of our dating culture has been shaped by trauma.
Right.
So you tell a little girl that she's fast. You tell her she can't have a boyfriend, and we tell her you can't have a boyfriend. Focus on your life. Focus on school. Then when she graduates, you're like, "Well, your man." Well, you spent so many years telling me that I could not do it, not understanding that there is practice and there's ritual that goes into it, because we are still marrying and mating and dating like we're still on the plantation.
Right.
Josiah's got a lovely smile.
Right.
Then you marry him and jump the broom. Not understanding. I need to know what your father do.
Right.
What's going on? What values that you have? How do you position yourself in the world? Where do you see yourself? And we have to go back to that. We don't get that grooming And a lot of black men teach these black boys, you gotta go get it. You gotta go get it. And so because everything is so trauma filled, of course it's messed up. Of course. How else would you expect it to be?
Hey. Right.
Action.
So whenever you need relief from muscle pains, muscle spasms, and aches, grab Q-Merch Vapor Rub. It's part of their new Healing Butter line. This Vapor Rub will have you feeling like a new person walking out the door. Need I say more?
I agree with you.
I agree with that aspect too. And so I guess the way it affects young girls is everything that you said, but then once you graduate school, then you got to go to college and you got to get this, and you chasing your bag, I guess,
right.
Like we said earlier. So you so gung-ho and focused on, and you don't know what the mother went through. A lot of black women are single mothers, and so you don't want that for your children, especially if you have girls. So what are you teaching them? You got to be strong, you got to do this, you got to. And then she's been raised so long that that's what's in her head. So now at what point does she, okay, I have enough now, or I've accomplished enough where I can slow down and try to find someone? Well, now how old are you at that point?
And you don't have any
And what is
experience.
your-
You
don't
haven't
have
seen
any-
your mother treat a
treated.
man any kind of way, or be referenced in a certain kind of way. And when you don't have that father figure in your life, you will take that void and you'll expect that man to fill that role, and that's not a role that's for him. So you don't even know how to measure a man. And then a lot of times with black men, when they're raised in homes with black mothers, the background of how they view women is cloaked in depression. So you don't even understand a free woman making her own decisions and going out and traveling. You think it's something that you need to control. You've heard those black men, she got too much mouth on her. Do I? Or do I have an opinion? And this is why a lot of our men are fatherless, because their fathers have no way to give them advice on how to guide women or deal with women who are free. And you have choices and options, because this is something that they never had to deal with before. So you have a bunch of 40-something-year-old men. There's something about the 40-something-year-old men. Like 40 to 55, we might need to just do something with them. I'm not saying genocide. I ain't saying genocide. But there needs to be some type of thing with that age group, because those men are very angry because they don't realize that you're going to have to talk. You're going to have empathy. You're going to have to compassion. You're going to have to resolve things. And they don't understand that. They know, I make $75,000 a year. Well, I'm sorry, Neil. That's not enough.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think too, at that age, you're kind of set in your ways, and then especially if you're not at whatever level you thought you should be at or have achieved, that's anger on top of that you're just going to display and put that off on someone because you're not content with yourself, plus whatever trauma that you've been dealing with that you refuse to get dealt with. So
see, I was going to say the exact same thing. To me, is people take out where they're not in life in their relationship, right? So I think what we never really discuss is how a lot of black men have low self-esteem, because it's about where they're at.
Ain't that what young people do? When you said something right?
something like that, yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I think we never talk about it. We never talk about a lot of black men have low self-esteem, and I think that's something that we have to deal with. Because, any time that you are in a situation with a woman or whatnot, if it don't work or whatever, you just move on. And you move on to that woman that y'all had that purpose together. You see, but you're not seeing that, in relationships nowadays. It's like you got to go back and forth, got to be beefing with each other and stuff like that. So that's what I think that, and we know that what we've been through in this country. And like she was saying earlier, this trauma is real out here. Yeah. And I'm not saying it in a negative way, and I'm not judging men or women. But what I'm saying is, let's see where the core of the problem is. Because when you feel 100% good about yourself, you ain't about to let no woman knock you down. None.
That's
it don't
true.
matter. You can say whatever. Like a woman can say, you this, you that, you this. I'm like, all right, whatever you say.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, that's what it is. It's just like you gonna laugh at them and be like, okay, everything be all right, baby. You had a bad day today, you know. That's I'm telling you, like when you good spiritually, you good with yourself, and you good where you going, you don't never ever worry about that.
It reminds me of this book I read called the Let Them Theory, where it talks about that when you're comfortable in yourself, just let them. All right,
Right.
You think that? All right, yeah.
Right.
You do that
Yeah.
too. Then
Right.
you don't internalize it and let that affect you to the point that it starts to throw you off emotionally and mentally, and because we do
Right.
have a habit of sometimes something ends and we act like the world is ending. Like,
Right.
oh my God,
Right.
he left, or she left me, and so.
And we don't really talk about that highly successful women. Men, you just said black men were not, they're not confident. They have low self-esteem, right?
Some of them,
Right.
Not all of them. Yeah, some of them.
So what they do is they go seek successful black women, professionals, and they play the game with them. Hey baby, how your day was? And they're like, oh my God, I found him. And then because they are angry with what they have in life and their success in life, they don't talk about how they will literally break their heart on purpose to bring them down a notch because it does something to their ego, so they could be like, oh, her, Kamala? I used to deal with her. Just so you could say that. That is low self-esteem, and we don't do that because a lot of successful black women have tried. We've tried dating the mechanic. We tried dating the dude that do Uber, and because he's got low self-esteem, he wants to bring you down just because it makes him feel better about himself.
Well, the good thing about it, there's plenty of people in the world. There's plenty of black men in the world. So we have to just move on. You know what I'm saying? So once you get yourself together, you're in a position to date.
No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that, just move on. Because it's one thing to have your heart broken. It's another thing to have your mind broken. And what I just said was somebody that breaks your mind, not your heart. That's what I'm talking about. I can deal with 10 heartbreaks. That's fine. But you came in and you tried to break my mind. And that's what you did. Not you.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what?
You're like, what? Let me get it out. No, that's what we're talking about is breaking your mind. Whole different thing. And we don't talk about that enough.
Right.
I can deal with a heartbreak. That's cool. Bring it on.
Right.
Whoa. Say it.
I've not heard of what you just. I'm just that a black man intentionally finding a black woman that's doing well on his level, right beneath him or higher, and then just trying to break her down just because. So that's a new one to me.
I don't think they know they do it. I don't think they know they do it because you just said when you're not happy with where you are in life, that anger and that pain has to go somewhere. If you don't deal with it, it has to go somewhere, and it will bleed into the next person. And who's closest to you than the person you're in a relationship with? So you're going to take that pain somewhere because you haven't resolved any of your issues. I just said that they don't even know how to measure a woman because they've never seen a free woman. They've seen their mother enslaved.
So do you think that's one of the reasons that makes it easier for them to search for a woman abroad who might be more docile, less confrontational?
Because they lame as hell. Well, yeah, because they want to feel like king. Because with the Epstein files, you see what men do when no one's watching. You see what's really in their heart when no one's watching.
You mean white men?
Yeah, rich men.
Now, I don't know about all that now.
There's no ethical billionaires. What we talking about? You can't be a billionaire in this country and tell me you got that ethically.
You can be.
Impossible.
You can be.
Impossible.
Let's keep it at the Epstein files, the people who manipulated that. I ain't been seeing the whole system that they've created. Yeah. So I don't know any black guys that's caught up in that.
Because it's white supremacy.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So let's just keep it at that.
Well, I know,
when you say men,
but passport bros are the same thing as the men in the Epstein files on a broke ass poverty level. You can't cut it with your equal, so you go find you through licky, a woman that can't speak no goddamn English, and you go get her because you know your $50,000 is the world to her. Yeah. So you want to feel like I have power and domination over a person.
Yeah, that's manipulation, right? But power. Manipulation and being a pedophile is a whole different thing.
Okay.
Right.
I'll give you that.
That's all I'm talking about. That's all.
That's it. We'll cover that on
that's all I'm saying. Right, that's what I'm saying. Because that's a whole nother level that you're talking about. Right. But I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm just saying, like, come on now, don't be throwing all men. When you say all men, now.
She did say all.
And you want to know what?
She did say all. That's why
that sentiment blocks conversation and development with our people, because anytime a black woman starts talking about her experience and men, it's always one a slightly above average man who like, well, no, man. Well, what do you think that contributes to the conversation, Joel?
Right.
Well, no, man.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Now I'm gonna protect the brothers up here now. Can I protect the brothers?
Them, though.
Am I attacking the brothers?
No. You all right now, but
she teetering.
Yeah, right. You're getting really close.
Okay, so
we ain't got no sponsors.
We need a sponsor right now.
All right.
Oh goodness. We're gonna go save some shea butter real quick. Oh gosh.
I lost my notes.
This pink sugar.
Welcome back to Woke at Midnight. I want to talk a little bit about your favorite sport, football. And I want to talk about the NFL. So as we know, the NFL is 58% black. So what I want to do for you today, I'm going to name the new coaches and what teams they're coaching. The New York Giants just hired John Harbaugh. The Atlanta Falcons just hired Kevin Stefanski. The Pittsburgh Steelers just hired Mike McCarthy. The Tennessee Titans hired Robert Saleh. Baltimore Ravens hired Jesse Minter, the old defensive coordinator for my Michigan Wolverines. The Buffalo Bills just hired Joe Brady. The Cleveland Browns just hired Todd Monken. The Miami Dolphins just hired Jeff Hafley. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. Arizona Cardinals just hired Mike LaFleur. And the Los Angeles Raiders just hired Clint Kubiak. So why am I naming the coaches, the new coaches that just hired? I think none of them are African American. So we're in 2026. 58% of the NFL players are black, and we haven't hired one black coach. Do you guys know that it's only 3 black head coaches in the NFL? So now look, I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't really care. But the reason why I'm bringing it up is, why do we continue to do this to ourselves? Why we don't have our own leagues? I'm trying to understand that. You know, and this is what I was talking about in the earlier segments of how we always talking about chasing the bag, because we just feel like that we're not good enough. We just feel like that we can't get there. We don't have the patience to build our own stuff. And this is what I don't understand. And it's like, if you have 58% of the players that are black, and then you and now since Trump is in, if you notice, with all the DEIs and the women that they've kicked out of the government, now people just don't care. They're not even trying to make it like it's an even playing field anymore. So these are the things that we have to watch, and I'm disappointed in the NFL because we were kind of, trying to make headway. I think about 3 or 4 years ago, I think we had about 6 black coaches, So I just have a problem with that. But let me say this to a lot of the players, okay? So as we know, the black players, they make pretty good salaries with the NFL. Now, if you own a company, right? Most of the people who are billionaires, their wealth comes from owning companies. That's where you're gonna make a lot of money at. But what we do is we go and we get into these institutions. They take our money. They tell you how to invest. They tell you where to put your money. Well, I got a stat for you. The NFL players invested 95% of all of their money, of all the money that was invested into white companies. There's so many black companies out there, startups, that you could be investing your money with. You invested in the white companies. You know what the return on that investment was? 12%. 12%. As Summer said earlier, I can sell shea butter and get a 3,000% return on my investment by the end of the year. So I want us to start thinking about what total independence would mean. It doesn't mean because if you invest with white people or white supremacist companies that you're going to make more money because you're with them. Try it yourself. Try to do things with your people, and I think that's where a change will come. And I'm out. Since you didn't catch the key. That's what's his name. That's Denzel. He just did the Denzel on me.
Beautiful. However, let's go backwards. We could even talk about college students playing for, instead of going to UGA and going to Tennessee, why don't they start playing for HBCUs and bringing all that money? Since we dominate the sports already, the HBU should be dominating it. And then you got to go back even more. A lot of the white families who have their children in football, they invest in their children starting at 6 and 7 years old. Travel ball, private coaches, strength training. They see the vision. Goes back to the whole culture, that I've been talking about when you have a plan for your children. They literally have a track for this person. They're instilling leadership and all these things in them. And by the time they're 18 years old, that quarterback has had thousands and thousands of dollars invested in them. Their private coaches have put them in positions and put them on all these tracks. What we do is drop the child off at practice, go to Ross and chill for a minute, and when it's 2 hours up, pick them up, because it becomes a filler activity and not a mission and a career path. So we need to change the way we think about it from the whole. I know it's great to jump into our own BFL, the Black Football League, but sometimes you got to work your way all the way back and talk about where is it really starting from.
I agree with you. It makes a lot of sense. But I'm going to respond to that and go off topic. I think we need to stop playing football. I think we got, and this is coming from somebody who grew up loving football, who played football, and who coached football. But I think we need to change our mindset. Let's watch the little white kids run around and play football. Let's watch them run up and down the field.
And get concussions.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm going to throw something at you guys, right? If you were in the top 1/10 of a percent in any field that you're in, how rich would you be?
Insanely.
See, this is where, like, how do you raise your kids to be like, oh, I'm raising him to be a pro basketball player? No, he plays basketball because he likes it. If he excels, then that's a nice look. That's not a career, right? And you talking about somebody who pushed my kids to be pro and all of that,
That's great. I believe. I agree.
right? But let's start changing the narrative. If we want to change our culture, if we want to change everything, let's start really getting down to the nitty gritty. Everything that we do, we do so much stuff for fun and because it's cool and because everybody else do it, right? When are we gonna start saying this ain't good for us? When we gonna start saying drugs not good for us? When we gonna start saying drinking not good for us? When we gonna stop saying why are we playing football and banging?
We're not, because we make so much money off of
Right.
it.
But my point is that's the problem. We saying we make a lot of money off this, but we can make money off of other things way more.
But you have to get people to want to do that. And some people, it's, how to say it's not being stereotypical here, but some families are banking on their son getting drafted to the NFL. He's their meal ticket.
How? What a
And
horrible
that's
thing to
sad.
do. But she's right.
It's sad. It's not about. Maybe you do probably have some parents that are get your education at the same time, but for the most part, it's that's my boy on the field.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Most
And
parents
that's the
broker their
whole-
children, and we don't talk about that. You sold your child to
Right.
football,
You do, but-
basketball, the rap game, and R. Kelly.
But the sad thing is, imagine the emotional weight on that child. You playing because you're good and you enjoy it, but probably not to the full extent because in the back of your mind, my family need this. I'm doing this for my
Right.
family, and
Right.
that's not fair.
Right.
To that that's not fair.
Right.
So-
Right.
I'm in agreement. I just,
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, because it's so many different things that you can grow up and love. Tell you a little story. My grandmother had me playing the piano, and I'm from Detroit. I was like, I ain't playing no damn piano, right? I ended up getting in the record business when I was 18 and started a label. So I imagine like, if I would have been a producer and knew how to play the keys back then, but my grandmother pushed me into all those things, but I just didn't listen, So luckily I still end up becoming an executive, but I was just thinking back like my grandmother had me playing that. So it's a lot of things that you can do and you can become very successful. So I think people need to start, and this goes to the parents. Check the odds of how many, and I should have these stats, but check the odds of how many people actually go pro in football, and in basketball where there's, I'll tell you what, Jason can help me out with this one. It's 15 basketball players on every pro team. It's 32 teams, right? So you're talking about roughly 500 players that make the NBA. How many people in this country? Because it's a worldwide sport. How many people in this country? I think not. How many billion?
It's only 8 billion in the world, so
It's 8 billion. It's
In the world.
In the world, right? So that's what I meant. It's worldwide. It's a worldwide game. So let's just say 9 billion people. Do we got a stat on that? What percent is that?
I remember I read one time that you have a better chance of getting struck by lightning twice.
Right.
than going to the
Quit pushing
NBA.
your kids to be a pro athlete like I was. I pushed my kids, but I was wrong. Okay? So quit pushing that. Let them play it for fun. If it materializes, that's something where they can do for a little while, but that's not a career. There's plenty of things that your kids will love. Do you watch football right now? Do you realize the speed of the sport? Do you realize that these players now can't even go through 3 games almost without getting hurt? I'm from Detroit and I love the Detroit Lions. 2 years ago, we probably had one of the greatest teams ever assembled. Do you know when it got time for the playoffs, we had over 35 players on IR? They killing themselves out there. If you love your kids, I'm sure you all love your kids, you keep them away from these violent sports. We need scientists. We need doctors.
I dated a guy named Jerome one time. Jerome. We went to Waffle House one time, and when the waffles came, he started tearing it apart with his hands. And I said, that's that concussion he got back in sophomore year. And he was like, what? I'm just saying.
Alrighty.
That's funny. Well, we're going to wrap up this sports talk with you guys for this evening with a quick little break, and then we're going to come in and conclude our show with you for the night.
Alrighty. Football, yay! Football.
This Shea Honey Black Moisturizing Soap lathers up really nice. And my skin feels clean and soft. It's like a 2-for-1. Cleans and moisturizes at the same time. I like it. So in conclusion, we hope that you enjoyed our first show with us tonight at Woke at Midnight. We hope it was an experience for you. It definitely was an enjoyable experience for us, getting different viewpoints on different topics. So with the week coming forward, we want you to stay out there, stay alert, stay informed, stay resilient to whatever you're going through in life, no matter what the situation is, so that you can always pivot, because joy will always win over any of the negativity. So until next time, stay woke.
Peace.